Good morning, girls. It's Miss Ferguson, and it is Friday, May 29th, 2020. So happy Friday. Today, we are going to still be working on the strategy of finding the main idea using supporting details. And specifically, we are finding the main idea in a nonfiction article. And we've been practicing different strategies with our news ELA articles, and today we're going to continue doing that. Our learning target is I can determine the main idea of a nonfiction article using the supporting details. So yesterday we read an article and then you had to think about what the main idea was by finding the supporting details, connecting them, and determining the main idea. We practiced in our lesson with shorter passage, but you had to apply it to a nonfiction article that was longer and also had subheadings. So, some things that you should think about when you're reading your nonfiction article. Remember that the main idea is the big idea that the author wants me to understand. So, the main idea is the big thing they are writing about, what they want to communicate to us. Make sure that you know what the topic of your article is. Remember, the topic is not the main idea. The topic is what the article is about. Ask yourself what the writer is explaining to you. So think about what the writer is saying and what are they explaining and trying to communicate to you. Jot down a list of important facts as you're reading. So as you find important facts in the article, write them down so that you can see how they're connected. Because next you'll have to ask yourself, how are these different facts connected? And what do they have in common? That's going to help me find the main idea. Our articles that we've been reading all have subheadings, and those are great for you to pay attention to as you read your nonfiction article because they are going to help you gather information and details that are going to help you find that implied main idea. So, subheadings tell us what each smaller section of text within an article is about. Pay attention to those as you're reading. We can use those subheadings to find the main idea of a certain section. Then we can find the connections between the different subheadings. What do they have in common? What would the author be trying to tell me by using these different sections? So when a big article is broken into smaller chunks in different subheadings, think about what each chunk of text is about. Under each subheading, what is that text telling me? And then you can look at the big picture, which is how are they connected? What is that big idea, which is our main idea? Let's take a look at the article that we read yesterday. So you read a news ELA article both in your packet and online called TV Series Reveals Careers in Science, Technology, Engineering, Math for Women. This was originally from the Washington Post, and then it was adapted and used by News ELA, which is where we found it. Some of the subheadings in this article were Women Turn Science into Jobs, Making Subject Matter Easy and Fun, and anything from carnivores to Mars rover. So think about what is the big idea the author is writing about by providing these different sections of text. Now that you've taken a look at your subheadings as you're reading, you can pull details from the article. And like I said, you should always have a piece of paper and pencil handy to write these down. Makes it much easier for you to think about the connections. One of the details was, this shows kids that science is fun. Women tell how they turned science into jobs. Another detail was, Kristen Lear, Ashley Kimball, and Ellen Stofan are women with different STEM careers. The show tries to make the subjects easy and fun. And the interesting show will get viewers caught up and they might not even realize they are starting to think differently. So how are those different pieces of information connected and how do they relate to what the article is titled? That's going to lead us to our main idea. So we took a look at each section, We pulled details from each section, and then we thought about what the title of the article was, meaning the topic of the article, what this article was about. In this case, it was about a TV series that reveals different careers in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math for women. So knowing that, taking a look at our subheadings, and then pulling our details, we are able to see that they're connected by the main idea, which is to tell us about a TV show that is showing kids how fun and easy STEM can be and how they can turn it into a career. So the article talked about how they made different subjects easy and fun. They talked about how these different women had careers in STEM. And they talked about how when you're watching it, you could get caught up in it and might not even realize that you're thinking about STEM and changing your mind about certain things. So those details pulled from those different sections can lead us to that implied main idea. Because as we know, the main idea isn't always stated for us in a paragraph. Sometimes we're the detectives and we have to use the details that we're given. So your agenda today, you need to complete today's article, which is Museum Exhibit Shows that Women Were the Leaders in Ancient Egypt, and the independent practice, which is finding the main idea using those key details. Remember to use the different steps I talked about. Jot down your information. Pay attention to those subheadings. Log on to News ELA and reread the article and complete the quiz, vocabulary, and writing activities, not just the quiz, which some people have been doing. Make sure you do all three because the vocabulary and the writing are really important too. You need to read for at least 35 minutes and complete your reading prompt response in the packet. You need to have a parent or guardian sign when everything is done. If you have missed any assignments this week on News ELA or in our lessons, please catch up on them today so that you can get credit for the lesson participation. And lastly, have a great day and have a great weekend.